One of Hollywood's last living links to its golden age has gone silent. June Lockhart, the timeless face of warmth, dignity, and adventure, has passed away at the age of 100. Late Thursday night, beneath the quiet glow of Santa Monica's coastal lights, she took her final bow. Her daughter and granddaughter were by her side, holding her hands as the woman who once symbolized television's golden innocence drifted peacefully away. For those who grew up watching Lassie or Lost in space, it feels like a piece of America's heart just stopped beating. June wasn't just another actress. She was a bridge between centuries, a performer who started in the age of black-and-white film reels and lived to hear her voice echo again in Netflix's digital universe. She belonged to that rare class of stars whose grace survived every transition, from radio to color TV, from stage lights to streaming screens. But behind those perfect TV mothers, behind the comforting smile that soothed audiences for decades, lived a woman who was far more daring, far more alive, and far more complicated than anyone ever imagined. She could play the calm matriarch on screen, then climb into a hot air balloon or drive an army tank for fun. She was Hollywood royalty who refused to act like it, a rebel wrapped in charm. And while the world remembers her for the way she made us feel safe, this story, her story, reveals how June Lockhart spent a century rewriting what it meant to be a woman in Hollywood. She was born into show business before she even knew what applause meant. In 1925, New York City welcomed a baby girl named June Lockhart, the daughter of two working actors, Jean and Kathleen Lockhart. For most children, bedtime stories came from books. For June, they came from scripts lying open on her parents' dressing tables. Her earliest memories were of velvet curtains, stage lights, and the smell of grease paint drifting through the air. She didn't just watch Hollywood rise, she was part of its foundation. By the time most kids were still learning to read, June was learning to perform. At just 8 years old, she made her stage debut in the Metropolitan Opera's Peter Ibbetson, standing beneath the same chandeliers that had dazzled her parents years before. Even then, she carried a calm confidence that directors noticed, a kind of poise that seemed far older than her age. Then, in 1938, came the moment that sealed her fate. MGM was filming A Christmas Carol, and by some miracle of timing, they cast the Lockhart family together. Her father played Bob Cratchit. Her mother played Mrs. Cratchit. And June, small, bright-eyed, and full of wonder, played one of their daughters. It wasn't just a role. It was a family portrait captured in motion picture history. June would later laugh about it, saying, "My first line in film was, 'I know, I know. Sausages.'" It became an inside joke that her family never let her forget. Every Christmas, when they watched the movie together, someone would repeat that line and the room would erupt in laughter. It was their way of remembering where it all began, not with fame or money, but with family and joy. From that moment on, June Lockhart wasn't just a little girl in a Christmas movie. She was Hollywood's first true second-generation star. A living thread connecting the elegance of old-world theater to the bright new world of film. She was proof that sometimes destiny doesn't wait for you to grow up. It finds you early, hands you a script, and quietly whispers, "You belong here." By her teens, she'd already shared sets with legends. June Lockhart wasn't just surviving in Hollywood's golden age, she was thriving in it. While other young actresses struggled to find their footing, June was already orbiting the greats. She appeared in All This and Heaven 2 alongside Bette Davis, played in Adam Had Four Sons, joined the cast of Sergeant York, and delivered a haunting performance in She-Wolf of London. Then came Meet Me in St. Louis, one of those glittering Technicolor jewels that defined an entire era. Each role added another layer to her artistry, but also to her reputation. Directors described her as effortless, but behind that, grace was grit. She was tireless, always rehearsing, always learning, always trying to do the work better than before. June didn't crave fame. She craved mastery. After conquering film, she set her sights on the stage. Broadway, the Everest of performance. In 1947, she starred in For Love or Money and walked away with a Tony Award for Outstanding Performance by a newcomer. That win wasn't just recognition, it was a coronation. June Lockhart had officially crossed the line from child actor to serious artist. Still, she never romanticized the grind. "I like it all," she once told the Chicago Tribune, "but I think the hardest to do is theater. Television is fun, but theater is night after night after night." It was the honesty of someone who'd earned the right to speak plainly about the craft. No pretense, no ego, just a lifetime of hard work. In every spotlight she stood beneath, June carried the same quiet power. She could make audiences believe. Whether she was a daughter, a leading lady, or a mother on screen, she had an authenticity that reached through the camera and touched people. She conquered every stage she touched, not through spectacle, but through sincerity. But then came the glow of a new screen. Television. The medium was young, electric, and unpredictable, and June Lockhart stepped into it like it was built for her. In 1958, she joined Lassie as Ruth Martin, the gentle yet resilient farm mother who kept her family, and America, grounded. For 6 years, she became a fixture in living rooms across the country, a symbol of warmth and decency in a time when families gathered around a single glowing box to feel connected. June earned 2 Emmy nominations for her performance, but it wasn't the awards that defined her. It was the bond she built with audiences, and with her co-star, John Provost, who played young Timmy. Decades later, Provost would say, "My own mother might forget my birthday, but June never does." It was a simple line, but it captured the truth. She wasn't just acting like a mother. She was one, to everyone who knew her. When Lassie ended, most actors would have been content to rest on such an iconic role. June didn't stop. In 1965, she traded barn doors for spaceship hatches, starring as Maureen Robinson in Lost in Space. Overnight, she went from farmland to the far reaches of the galaxy, guiding her on-screen family through meteors, alien planets, and moral dilemmas with that same steady grace. The show, inspired by the Swiss Family Robinson, turned her into a new kind of American mother, one who could pilot a ship and command a crisis as easily as she once baked pies. Years later, she joked in an NPR interview, "I did Lassie for 6 years, and I never had anybody come up to me and say, 'It made me want to be a farmer.' But Lost in Space? People tell me it made them want to be scientists." It was the kind of dry humor that only June could deliver. Humble, self-aware, and sparkling with wit, and fittingly, nearly 60 years after the original, she returned one last time. In 2021, Netflix revived Lost in Space, and June Lockhart's voice appeared in a cameo, a soft echo from the past, reminding everyone that she was still watching over the Robinson family, and in some ways, still watching over us all. But away from the cameras, she was nothing like the soft-spoken mother she played. June Lockhart's on-screen life was filled with calm smiles and moral lessons, but off-screen, she was pure energy. When Lassie and Lost in Space had faded into syndication, she didn't retreat into nostalgia. She reinvented herself again and again. Through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, she appeared everywhere. Petticoat Junction, Marcus Welby, MD, Magnum PI, Knots Landing, Murder, she wrote, Full House, Grey's Anatomy, even Babylon 5. More than 150 film and television credits. That was her true resume. And yet, she never saw herself as Hollywood royalty. She treated each role as another chance to play, to stretch, to surprise. In 1995, she popped up on Roseanne as Leon's mother, a small part that most actors might dismiss. But June didn't. She called it the highlight of my career. Why? Because it let her break her own stereotype, to be unpredictable again. Her fans saw a gentle matriarch. Her friends knew someone entirely different, a woman addicted to adventure. June Lockhart loved rock and roll. She attended concerts, laughed at loud music, and never apologized for it. She once bragged about driving army tanks and soaring in hot air balloons. She even went glider flying, the kind with no motors, just wind and courage. She didn't just defy gravity on screen, she did it for real. And then came the detail that still stuns people. Her favorite show wasn't Lassie or Lost in Space. It was Ren and Stimpy, that wild, chaotic cartoon about a cat and a chihuahua. She once said she tried never to miss an episode. Imagine it, the queen of wholesome TV, laughing at the most absurd show on air. That was June Lockhart, in a nutshell. Timeless, unpredictable, and far more fun than her tidy, motherly image ever suggested. From Lassie's Fields to Lunar Dreams, she never stopped reaching higher. June Lockhart didn't just play a space explorer, she became one in spirit. In 1960, Hollywood honored her with not one but 2 stars on the Walk of Fame, one for film and one for television, both dedicated on the same day. Few actors in history can claim that kind of double legacy, but for June, it felt natural. She had conquered every medium she touched. Yet, even as her name glittered on Hollywood Boulevard, her eyes were often fixed on the stars above. Long after Lost in Space ended, her fascination with science didn't fade. It deepened. Starting in the 1970s, she began working closely with NASA, giving talks, visiting research centers, and inspiring the people who truly did reach the final frontier. She saw astronauts not as distant heroes, but as kindred spirits, explorers, dreamers, storytellers in their own right. In 2014, NASA presented her with the Exceptional Public Achievement Medal, one of the agency's highest civilian honors. I've been to 2 space shuttle launches and worked with NASA since the 1970s, she told the Denver Gazette. So I'm absolutely thrilled by this recognition. No other actress has received this honor. For her, it wasn't about prestige. It was about passion, the same curiosity that had carried her through decades of changing screens and shifting audiences. June Lockhart had spent a lifetime reminding people that imagination mattered. Whether you were watching a collie save a boy or a family find home among the stars, she blurred the line between fiction and aspiration, proving that even make-believe could spark real dreams. And in doing so, she left behind something far greater than fame. She left a trail of inspiration that still reaches into the sky. June Lockhart wasn't just fascinated by the stars above. She was equally captivated by the ones on Earth. Her lifelong curiosity extended far beyond Hollywood. Politics, history, current events. She devoured them all. In 1948, she met President Harry Truman, and in typical June fashion, she didn't just smile for a photo and walk away. She asked him what it was like to sit in the Oval Office. Truman, half amused and half weary, looked her in the eye and said, "It's just like being in jail." June never forgot that line. It fascinated her, not because it was cynical, but because it revealed the human truth behind power, something she always sought to understand. That one conversation sparked a lifelong fascination with American leadership. Years later, President Dwight Eisenhower's press secretary, Jim Haggerty, gave her something almost no one else in show business had: a lifetime press pass. With it, June attended press briefings in Washington, D.C. and California for the next 47 years. Imagine it. The same woman who played America's favorite mother, sitting in the back row of political briefings, jotting down notes about policy and history. While other stars chased headlines, June studied them. She became a familiar face in press rooms, her questions always sharp, her tone always respectful. Journalists adored her because she wasn't there for gossip. She was there to learn. Her mind was quick, curious, and endlessly engaged. That sharpness also made her a regular on celebrity trivia shows, where she dominated the buzzer rounds with encyclopedic recall. Contestants often underestimated the soft-spoken actress, until she left them staring at the scoreboard. It was the perfect contrast. Hollywood glamour wrapped around an investigative mind. June Lockhart wasn't content to just act out stories. She wanted to understand them, whether they unfolded in a TV script, a NASA launch, or a White House press room. And maybe that's what made her so timeless. She didn't just play characters who asked questions. She lived her life asking them. In the end, her life closed the way it had been lived, gracefully, quietly, and surrounded by love. On October 23rd at 9:20 p.m., June Lockhart passed away in Santa Monica, with her daughter and granddaughter by her side. She was 100 years old. There was no spectacle, no spotlight, no grand curtain call, just the peace she'd earned after a century of giving herself to the world. Her family asked that in lieu of flowers, fans donate to the Actors Fund, ProPublica, or International Hearing Dog, Inc., a reflection of the causes she believed in most: creativity, truth, and compassion. Her career had lasted nearly as long as television itself, from black and white film reels to color TV, from live broadcasts to streaming platforms. June Lockhart had been there, steady, radiant, and unforgettable. She taught generations that motherhood could be strength, that kindness could command attention, and that even a gentle smile could outshine fame. She didn't just live through Hollywood's eras, she connected them, binding the past to the present, showing what endurance, elegance, and curiosity could look like in a single human life. For those who watched her on screen, whether guiding Timmy and Lassie through danger or steering a family through galaxies, her presence meant safety. She embodied a kind of decency that never went out of style. And even now, her spirit lingers, in the glow of old television screens, in the laughter of reruns, and in the dreams of everyone who still believes stories can change us. June Lockhart didn't just act through eras, she connected them. A bridge between what was and what will always be remembered. What's your first memory of seeing her on screen? Share it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories about the legends who built Hollywood's legacy, one unforgettable role at a time.